Now at 6, Portland police continue to investigate a deadly shooting that happened Tuesday night near the Cinco de Mayo festival. We spoke to a witness here what he encountered last night. Plus.
All right, driver's out. He's running southbound through the field.
From a high-speed chase to hiding under a truck, we have a look at the wild way deputies say one driver tried to escape arrest and how a plane was able to lend a hand.
And coming up at 6:30, we're getting an inside look at the Multnomah Athletic Club after a former employee drove a car loaded with explosives through the front doors. Sunrise at 6 starts right now. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on your Wednesday. I'm China Green.
And I'm Matthew Herchick. Glad to have you with us. Chris McGinnis is keeping an eye on the weather, but getting a little reprieve from traffic with Corey in today. Chris, how are things shaping up today?
We are still starting off with clouds in the Willamette Valley like yesterday. And like yesterday, the East Gorge and out in the Columbia Basin is clear. Check this out, the live shot from Oregon's Veterans Home in the Dalles, where the sun is out, it is up. You can see the top of the marine cloud deck that has swallowed up the Willamette Valley again. This is from Timberline. Unlike yesterday, it's not nearly as deep. It's not nearly as thick. And in fact, just looking outside our studios, I can see a few breaks in the clouds, which we could not see yesterday at this time. 54 degrees right now in Salem. We take you up to Vancouver. It's 56 there at last check with a light northwest breeze. And our Wells Fargo sky camera, again, showing a gray sky with some bright spots out there right now at 56. So the plan for today, yes, clouds to start the morning, maybe even some patchy drizzle here and there. I do think the clouds clear earlier than yesterday. We only made it into the low to mid 60s. Yesterday should be a little warmer with the earlier burn off. I've got us topping out around 73 degrees this afternoon. Corey?
Yeah, good morning. Out on the roadway, we are still keeping an eye out on a traffic alert in Northeast. I want to give you a live look from that stretch right now. This is at Northeast 15th in Alberta. Photojournalist Eric Patterson out there at this time. What we know, it's a two-car crash that police are currently investigating. Medical crews were called to the scene as well. Still working to learn more details, but this stretch closed for about a block or so. Giving you a look from that crash closure map, 15th Avenue to Alberta, closed just for one block until 16th Avenue. So something to keep in mind there. Other stretches of interstate, I-5 at Kirby Avenue past the 405 split, moving along, not too much in the way of delays there. And then last but not least, 405 southbound at Everett at this time. A look at your drive times, still sitting in the green if you're using I-5 to get to US 26, 610 minutes. Matthew?
All right, Corey, thank you. We are following breaking news from overnight. Portland police investigating a deadly shooting that happened outside the Cinco de Mayo festival in downtown Portland last night.
It happened just after 10:30 near Southwest Nato Parkway and Harvey Milk. That's where we find Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz live this morning. Thomas, what more do we know here?
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, Portland police were out here for hours from about 10:30 last night to 4:30 this morning. And again, this is a shooting that happened right near the Cinco de Mayo festival here in downtown Portland as it was wrapping up. We don't know if the suspect or victims were attending the event, but you can see in this video from a witness people running away from the festival late last night. Portland police tell us once they arrived on scene, they found two males had been shot. One died, the other was transported to a local hospital. We don't yet know the names of the victims. We spoke to a witness who was downtown to pick his brother up from the Cinco de Mayo festival when he heard the shooting.
And then all of a sudden, people started breaking the fence. And so when I saw people breaking the fence, especially at a place where is the emergency exit, I ran into it and I started noticing everyone was crying.
Now, police say no arrests have been made yet. This, of course, is still an active investigation. Anyone with information about this shooting or what led up to it is urged to contact Portland police. Matthew, China.
Our Thomas Schultz reporting live this morning. Thank you, Thomas. Meantime, a driver is facing DUI charges after police say they crashed into a MAX train late last night. It happened on Northeast 162nd Avenue in East Burnside. Police there said the driver had some minor injuries. Blue Line had some delays while the scene was being cleared. The incident is still under investigation.
A 25-year-old took off towards the coast on Highway 26, trying to elude law enforcement by killing his headlights. But Washington County deputies were able to follow the driver all the way up until he ran off the road thanks to their aerial unit. Now, this all happened early Saturday morning while deputies were keeping an eye out for that vehicle on the ground. Air support was able to track the driver the entire time. The suspect made its way all the way to Highway 6 before turning around. And right before he got back onto Highway 26, he drove off the road. Now you can see him get out of the car and start running through a field. The Washington County Sheriff's Office says he tried hiding in a nearby home.
And it's a fairly remote area, so he's running towards the only property that he can see. That driver at that point is hopping the fence, trying to hide on the property, but he's unable to hide from the airplane, which he may or may not even know is there.
A canine officer was able to find Abayomi Vidal Avelos under a truck in the driveway. He was arrested for attempting to elude, reckless driving, DUI, and probation violations.
Well, check this out. This video from Spokane County that shows a driver hopping a curb and then chasing a child on a dirt bike. Authorities say the 56-year-old driver and child on the dirt bike start honking at each other, and then the car turns around and does this. Begins chasing the boy, leaving neighbors absolutely stunned.
You could see he was getting out of there, like there was fear, in that video, and as a parent, to think if that would have been my child, yeah, I mean, I'd be very upset. I'd want charges brought.
No one was hurt. Investigators say the woman behind the wheel drove to another home about a mile away and tried to break in. She told deputies that she didn't recall the dirt bike incident and was highly intoxicated. The woman faces charges including a second-degree assault and DUI and criminal trespass.
2 Portland men accused of dealing meth near affordable housing complexes are now facing federal drug charges. This is a look at some of the evidence seized by investigators. It includes bags of meth, drug paraphernalia, money, and weapons, including nunchucks and brass knuckles. Authorities say they got multiple tips about the 2 suspects. They arrested William Fleming Davis in the Lentz neighborhood and Edward Mortensen in Old Town.
Meanwhile, Portland Mayor Keith Wilson was in Clackamas County trying to convince commissioners to help fund homeless shelters within city limits. So they denied the funding request back in March. And so Tuesday, he laid out a 6-point plan to give commissioners a better idea of how his administration is tackling the crisis. He also stressed a strategy of making sure people who use city services move forward and don't just stay on the streets. But the most surprising part of the presentation was when Wilson said that thousands of affordable housing units are empty.
7.4% of our entire portfolio, 22,000 units, are empty today. Home Forward is 1/3 of it, yes, but it's not just Home Forward. We have a systemic problem in Portland with how we're managing our affordable housing portfolio, so we need to fix it all.
Home Forward is separate from Portland's government, but works closely with the city. It owns 7,000 low-income apartments and has faced challenges in recent years in getting those units filled. No funding decisions were made during the meeting.
Investigators say human remains discovered in southwest Portland more than 2 decades ago belonged to a man named Robert Horton. He was found near Riverview Cemetery back in 2004. At the time, investigators also found a makeshift shelter and personal items, but the case went cold. State police say advances in DNA technology helped them identify Horton as a likely candidate and worked with family members and a lab to get confirmation. His cause of death was not determined.
Your time now is 6:08, taking a live look from our Timberline Skycam. It looks absolutely beautiful out there with the clouds and the mountain. Speaking of clouds, it was very cloudy yesterday, and you're saying we're kind of going to see the same situation here today.
Yeah, the clouds definitely hung on longer yesterday than I expected. I mean, I did expect a clear off in the early afternoon. Yesterday's cloud deck, and we really looked at that and said, oh, wow, those are pretty thick. They were maybe 3,000, 3,500 feet thick. This morning, yes, we do have the marine cloud cover. That's a really pretty camera, as China mentioned, from Timberline. The tops of that cloud deck getting up to about 4,000 feet again. But as we look at our Rose City sky camera, yesterday you could hardly make out the skyline, and you certainly couldn't make out the West Hills. So that tells us the ceiling, the cloud base is higher, right? These clouds are thinner than they were yesterday, so I think they'll burn off a little earlier than they did yesterday. 56 degrees last check at PDX. It's 56 in Beaverton. It's 55 in Scappoose. Big picture here statewide. We are clear east of the Cascades. It's going to be a breezy and mild day, warm day out towards the Dalles. You're starting off at 62. Here is that cloud cover. This is the overnight imagery that's in color enhanced because it was obviously dark when the satellite captured this. But you can see the cloud deck, and you can also see where it is not. Yesterday, we were solid clouds from Seattle to Corvallis and west. Not the case this morning, so we should be able to erode that cloud cover much earlier today. And Futurecast bears that out, clearing us out in the early afternoon. So that'll allow temperatures today to be a little warmer than they were yesterday. This afternoon, we should be in the upper 60s to low 70s here in Portland. As we mentioned, a breezy day through the East Coast. Now, this is at 6 o'clock. I think the Dalles gets up to nearly 80 degrees before temperatures start to drop a little bit. But we mentioned windy conditions with sunshine there. For the west side of the state, we'll have sunshine earlier today than we did yesterday. West winds whipping through the East Gorge, again, on the order of about 30 to 40 miles an hour later today. Say hello to Iggy. I love that posture, that little look like, huh? Iggy is today's pet of the day. If you want to get a shout out to your favorite four-legged friend, pet of the day, all one word, at KGW.com is the way to do that. All right, here's your 7-day forecast. Dry today, dry tomorrow, maybe a sprinkle on Friday, and then a dry weekend heading into Mother's Day weekend. I've bumped the temperatures down a little bit, but still dry with upper 70s or 80 degrees in the forecast for Saturday and Sunday. Guys, back to you.